welcome back to my channel. I have another Night Owl collection to share with you that really gets me excited because it is based off one of my favorite TV shows, which is Parks and Rec. So I'm really excited to share these polishes with you because they go on sale today, April 27th at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I was given these polishes for review and I'm really excited to share with you the formulas, to show you how they apply to the nail, and to show you the thermal properties. This is an 8-bottle set from Night Owl Lacquer, and every single one of these polishes are thermals. So let's just get going because there's a lot of ground to cover. The first polish I have to share with you is Bababooey. This is inspired by Ben, one of the characters from Parks and Rec, and it starts with this really blackened plum base that's got a little bit of a multi-chrome like shimmer shift happening in here. So you can see it shift from like teal to purple. I'm not quite sure if it's translating very well over on the camera. It's very subtle and really nice. Now on top of this kind of blackened multi-chrome shift, there are tons of silver flakies that are finely milled. The formula on this one surprised me a little bit because it's really thick. That first coat I was a little bit weary of, and I went a little bit too heavy-handed and it was a little bit too thick, so make sure and be a little bit careful with this polish. Make sure and try to work a little bit thinner than you want because you really do want to layer this polish as much as possible to really get a nice depth of those flakies. So when I went in with the second coat, I tried to play it down a little bit more with the thickness of the coat, and I was happy in 2. Or depending on your application style, you might need to do 3 coats if you work a little bit thinner, but with my heavy-handedness, I was able to get this opaque in 2 coats. Now this is the cold state color of this polish, so when you warm it up, it transforms into a nice soft mid-toned lavender. It's not super pastel, it's not super dark, middle of the road lavender. This one I thought was nice and it was really pretty, but it's just not my personal style. I'm kind of done with these darker colors right now, and the transitional warm color wasn't necessarily like doing it for me, but it's still a really good polish. Next we have I Know What Things Are, which is inspired by Andy, and this polish was so interesting to me. Like, I was a little bit taken back by this one because it looks kind of weird in the bottle. We've got kind of this coral, light pink, salmony orange base that's very jelly-like, and then there are iridescent flakies in here that shift between like a citrusy green to like pink and magenta and gold. There are also some more like finely milled multi-chrome flakies in here as well, and then on top of it all, there is a greenish kind of blue shimmer going through this whole thing. It's definitely different, it's definitely unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before, and the formula is not bad. Now, just like with Bababooey, it is a lot thicker than I expected it to be, so I was a little bit like, okay, I gotta adjust my application style here and really thin this puppy out. You just gotta take your time with it. With the first coat, I was amazed at how much glitter and sparkles and flakies I was able to obtain in that one coat. However, the color wasn't quite dark enough for me, so I definitely had to go in with the second coat. Once it was dried completely, I hit it with the blow dryer to show you that it transitions to this like baby duck yellow, which is just insane. I thought it was so unique. It was such a unique color match of this like orange salmon to like this baby duck yellow. So different. And the baby duck yellow still complements really nicely all of the components inside this polish. Now for me personally, again, this one just didn't quite hit the mark for me. It was just a little bit too weird, but I think that's personal taste. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of this base color. I think it looks a little bit funky on my nails. And then the baby duck yellow was gorgeous, but the transition between the salmon and the yellow just, I don't know, it just didn't quite work for me, but that is completely personal style, personal taste. You probably have a very different opinion regarding this polish. Doesn't change the fact that it has a really good formula and it performs beautifully, and that thermal transitional property is spot on. Like, I had no problems getting this one to change at all. It's definitely an experience, might not be for everyone, but it's still a good polish. Next we have Literally, which is inspired by Chris, and this polish is really beautiful in its cold state because it's like this jade emerald green that is so beautiful. It is such a gorgeous color. And then there are some multi-chrome flakies in here. There's also a shimmer in here. It shifts between like red and green, which I dig. I really, really dig this one. Now, the formula on this one was very similar to the other two that we've experienced so far, so we want to make sure and keep in mind that it's going to be really thick, so we need to work in thinner coats. The first coat, I was really impressed with the amount of color saturation with this one, but when it dried, I did notice that obviously I was going to need a second coat, so I went in with a second coat. I was totally happy with the application of that second coat. It darkened the color, evened it out completely, and again, layered on some more of these gorgeous flakies and glitters and components inside this polish, making it super, super dimensional when you were looking at it on the nail. When this puppy warms up with my hairdryer, you can tell that it changes once again to this amazing in-your-face yellow baby duck color that is so striking with the flakies and the shimmers inside this polish. I like this one quite a bit. I liked that transition between this like dark emerald green to like a yellow. I feel like this will be a really good contender for us Green Bay Packer fans because it's like that perfect green and gold that works really, really nicely. So I did enjoy this one quite a bit. I love the formula. I love the cold color on this one. This one is a good one that I really enjoyed a lot. Next we have You Poetic Land Mermaid, which of course is inspired by Anne. And this one is a gorgeous kind of plum purple base that has tons of a multi-chrome shimmer that has been finely milled, and it has a very strong gold to maroon to like red property in it that is so complementary to the base color of this polish. This one, just like some of the other polishes in this collection, again has a very thick formula, so you want to be a little bit aware of it, but it's easy to thin out and it's really easy to apply in a nice even color. Now I thought this one was absolutely stunning. I was able to get it completely opaque in 2 evenly applied coats, and I was super, super happy with it. You could argue that it needs a third because of how dark the color gets the more you add onto it, but I was happy with 2 coats. I really couldn't complain. I thought it looked great. Once it dried, I added a top coat to it, and once it was all set and ready to go, I heated it up to see what the warm color of this polish looked like, and it is a very beautiful mint. I love mint polishes. I love mint thermals. I really love seeing that transition between purple and mint. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. However, I found the mint warm color to be a little bit sheer, and you could see my nail line. So I'm not sure if that's because I didn't do a third coat, or maybe just the mint color itself is a little bit on the sheer side. So to be on the safe side, you might need 3 coats of this one to ensure that the nail line won't be seen or visible when it's in the warmer state, but in the cold state, it was great in 2 coats. Next, we have the polish inspired by Ron. This one is called I don't like to swear. This one is called that word one thing, and it is definitely Ron. Like, I see this polish and I'm like, yep, that is Ron, because we are dealing with an olive green base that has a gold shimmer running through it that kind of shifts a little bit coppery, a little bit red. There are also some multi-chrome flakies that are very strikingly gold and green, giving it a very like army feel. I just get army vibes when I look at this. I think it looks like camo. It just works really, really nicely for the character inspiration, which is Ron. The formula itself was really easy to work with, just like the rest of these. While it can be super thick, it's really easy to work in thin layers. It's not that hard to thin it out on your brush and on your nail. I was so impressed with how much like color I was able to get in 1 coat, and flakies and shimmer and all that good stuff. However, it's still not dark. It's not dark enough to wear on its own in one, so you definitely want to build this baby up, adding more layers of the color and flakies, really giving it nice dimension. I was happy in 2 coats, and once it dried, I added a glossy topper on it to kind of smooth things out, to make it look like what you see in the bottle, and just to really make it shine. Now, when I warmed it up, I was very impressed to see that it changes to like a gold. It's not the baby duck yellow that we saw in the other thermals. It's definitely more gold-like, almost like a sunflower, and it's really pretty. It's really pretty, and it works nicely with the shimmer and the flakies that's already in this polish. I think this kind of yellow gold is definitely more complementary to the base color. Personal taste wise, this is not necessarily my cup of tea. I feel like this one will be really great come like the fall time and transitioning into cooler weather. It's just right now I want to wear lots of pastels and bright colors, and so this might not be reached for anytime soon. However, I still feel like it's got a great formula. It's a really good thermal, and I feel like come fall time, this one will be a great contender for some great fall manicures. Next, we have I Am a Goddess, a Glorious Female Warrior, and this one is inspired by Leslie, and this polish has a really beautiful, intense, like crayon purple base that's really bright. It's not quite neon, but it's definitely brighter than some of the other purples in this collection. There's a little bit of a shimmer in here that seems like it's kind of reddish magenta, which is very subtle and very dainty, and it works really nicely against this super bright purple background. There are also some big like black flakies in here that are in various sizes, and it looks like there may be some red metallic glitter in here as well. The formula on this one is a little bit tricky because of the amount of flakies and the size of the flakies inside this polish. I found that the flakies can get a little bit in the way with this polish because they kind of scoot around the nail and it's hard to get even color coverage. So you definitely will need to apply 2 to 3 coats of this polish depending on your personal preference. I was happy with 2 coats, and it was totally fine to kind of even things out and to get even coverage across the whole nail. This polish got a little bit too textured once it dried for me, so I went ahead and put a glossy topper on it to make it all smooth and glassy like you see in this bottle. And then once it was all dried, I wanted to see what the warm state color was, and you guys, it is stunning. It is so beautiful. It is a very bright, hot magenta pink, and I adore it. It is so cute. It works so well with the flakies and the glitter and the shimmer inside this polish already. I love the way it kind of naturally faded into the purple and into the pink. It was just so cute. So very cute. Even though the flakies can make it a little bit difficult to apply, the thermal properties in it and the transition that it makes is so gorgeous and so fun. I really do like this one. This one's definitely my top 3. Next, we have Marchtember Oneteenth, which is inspired by April, and I love this one. This one is probably my ultimate favorite out of all of these polishes. We are starting with this really intense, gorgeous, beautiful, turquoisey, cerulean blue that is so gorgeous. It is so gorgeous, and with it being a jelly, it's kind of ethereal and like candy-like. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. There are tons of these large iridescent flakies in here as well that shift between pastel colors. So we see purples and we see pinks, but they're all really light and soft and fluffy. I love the cold state color of this polish, and the formula is so incredibly buildable, and it's so nice. The first coat of it was really easy to apply. Again, you want to make sure we're working thin here. You don't want to be too heavy-handed with these because you want even jelly color coverage. Obviously, we need to build this baby up in 2 coats. I was happy in 2. You might need a 3rd depending on your application style and how much you really want to cover up that nail line, but I was super happy with 2. Now, the texture of it was a little bit on the rough side because we've got some large flakies in here, so I did put a top coat on it, and then once that dried, as we know, I had to warm it up and see what it looked like, and you guys, it's so beautiful because it transitions to like a clear / white base that is heavenly with all of these pastel flakies and the purple shimmer in here and like some of the silver metallic glitter in here as well. It's just gorgeous. Like I almost wish like the clear white state was the cool color too, because it's just so gorgeous, and watching it transition between the turquoise to the white / clear is so gorgeous. It works so nicely. Like, this one is definitely my all-time favorite out of this entire collection. It's right up my alley for where I am, like color-wise right now. I want brights, I want happy colors, and this just fits that bill perfectly. The next polish that I have to share with you is Treat.Yo.Self, and this is inspired by Tom and Donna. This polish is another like one of these dark purples in this collection. It's more of a wine burgundy color and less like purple like the rest of the polishes in this collection. Inside this polish, there's a little bit of, there's a gold shimmer running through here. There's also like a red shimmer, and I see flecks of gold micro flakies as well. So it's a beautiful combination of like gold and wine. Works beautifully, looks so good, So very good. The formula on this one was really, really impressive because I was stunned at how much color I was able to get in one coat. However, you do need to be careful because with it being a little on the thicker side, you want to work in thicker coats, but you don't want to do that because you'll get uneven color. It makes all the difference if you can work in thinner coats and slowly build up that color and darken it. I was able to get this opaque in 2 coats. However, a 3rd coat would have darkened it just a little bit more, but I was happy in 2. So it's kind of personal preference what you're looking for with this polish. When it's warmed up, it's this really beautiful magenta, which is really cute. I thought it was really nice and it worked nicely with the gold in this polish. However, I felt like having it transition from this wine to the magenta made it a little bit tricky to apply because when I was first applying it, I thought I was working too thin and I was overworking it in some spots because it was like not as dark as it was in the rest of the polish, but then I realized it changes to magenta and it was already transitioning on my nails as I was painting it, which is a nice indicator that this polish does transition easily. It just makes it a little bit tricky to apply to the nail because you don't know how your coverage is going because it already starts to transition to a lighter shade as you're applying it to the nail. But 2 coats, I think you'd be good to go. 3rd coat, you're probably darken up that wine color and maybe the magenta as well. But like I said, I was totally happy in 2. I feel like this polish, once again, is gonna be more of a fall polish for me. I think it's gorgeous. I love the wine color. I think it's beautiful, but seasonally, it's just not quite there for me yet. It's gonna wait until like September and then I'll rock this baby all night long because it's really quite gorgeous. And the formula, easy to use. You just gotta be careful with that magenta transition and not think you're applying too thinly because it's just already changing. It's already changing and becoming a beautiful color. As a whole, this collection was a little bit on the dark side for me. Right now, personally, I am really jonesing for like pastels, for like close to getting into the neon realm. I really want bright, sunshiny, warm colors, and these just are a little bit too dark for me right now. However, that doesn't change the fact that they have amazing formulas, that they are solid 2 to 3 coater polishes. The transitioning of these thermals are absolutely gorgeous, that the addition of the flakies and shimmers and sparkles in these polish complement the base colors and the transitional colors really, really nicely. Before I wrap up this review though, I just want to make a quick side note about thermals in general, that thermals do have a shelf life. There is an expiration date, so to say, on thermals. They only last anywhere from 6 to 12 months and then they start to lose that color changing property. So make sure when you're looking at these polishes that you really do enjoy and love that base color because anywhere between 6 months to a year, that's what you're going to be left with. So just make sure and keep that in mind when looking at thermals, and it's not just these thermals, it's like all thermals in general. Thermals just don't have that long of a shelf life. They last anywhere from 6 to 12 months depending on how you store them and take care of them. They don't last forever, unfortunately. As much as we want them to, they just can't do it. So that is the collection. What did you guys think? As we know, I have some favorites from this set that I really did enjoy quite a bit. Surprisingly enough, I mean maybe not surprisingly enough, they're the lightest colors out of this entire collection. That would be Marchtember Oneteenth, which is probably my first favorite. Like this is like #1 favorite right here. Next would be I'm a Goddess, a Glorious Female Warrior. And then the last one is Literally. These 3 are my personal choices. These are the 3 that I would buy from this set because they are bright, they are springy, they are kind of summery, and I really, really like them. And I love the transitional color that they have, but more importantly, I love the base color, which works really well for me right now and my current desire to wear lots of brights. These fit that criteria so nicely, and I really do enjoy these ones. I like these ones the most. But what do you guys think? How do we feel about this thermal set from Night Owl Lacquer? As usual, I'm dying to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comment section down below. But that is my video for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!